Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Brajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Brajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Brajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramu, Ramu Ramu, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parvajakacharya Astatarasat Sri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees, and all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. So today it will be two verses. This Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 6, verse 25, and also verse 26, but we will chant together verse 25. Is that on there now? 5? Yeah. Etavaruktvo pararamatan mahan Bhutam nabho lingam lingam ishvaram Aham chastasmai mahatam mahiyase Shrishna vanamam vidadhe nukampita Etavad uktvo pararamatan mahan Bhutam namo lingam lingam ishvaram Aham cha tasmai mahatam mahiyase Shrishna vanamam vidadhe nukumpata Etavad uktvo pararamatan mahan Bhutam nabo lingam lingam ishvaram Aham cha tasmai mahatam mahiyase Shrishna vananamam vidade nukampitam Tasmai mahatam mahiyase Krishnavanamam Venukumpatayam. Tam Nabolingam Lingam Ishvaram. Aham Shatasmai Mahatam Mahiyase. Krishna Vanamam Vidade Nukampita. Ladies, please. Anyone else? Etavat, thus, uktva, spoken, upararama, stopped, tat, that, mahat, great, bhutam, wonderful, nabahalingam, personified by sound, alingam, unseen by the eyes, Ishvaram, the supreme authority, Aham, I, Cha, also, Tasmai, unto him, Mahatam, the great, Mahiyase, unto the glorified, not finished, unto the glorified, Shirshna, by the head of Anamam, obeisances, Vidite, executed, Anukampitaha, being favored by him. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation. Then that supreme authority, personified by sound and unseen by eyes, but most wonderful, stopped speaking. Feeling a sense of gratitude, I, Narada Muni, offered my obeisances unto him, bowing my head. Please repeat. Then that supreme authority, personified by sound and unseen by eyes, but most wonderful, stopped speaking. Feeling a sense of gratitude, I offered my obeisances unto him, bowing my head. Purport. Sorry. That the personality of Godhead was not seen but only heard does not make any difference. The personality of Godhead produced the four Vedas by his breathing, and he is seen and realized through the transcendental sound of the Vedas. Similarly, the Bhagavad Gita is the sound representation of the Lord, and there is no difference in identity. The conclusion is that the Lord can be seen and heard by persistent chanting of the transcendental sound. So now I'll go to the 26th verse. I will chant it by myself and go through the translation just by myself as well as the purport. Namanyanantasya hatatripapatam guyani badrani kritani chasmaran gamparyatam stushnamanagataspraha kalam pratikshan vimadhu vimatsaram. Translation. Again, Narada Muni is speaking, and he's telling his story to Vyasadeva. He's giving him what they call the backstory, so that he can have a better understanding of his beginning, middle, and now his wonderful, glorious end. Thus I began chanting the holy name and fame of the Lord by repeated recitation, ignoring all the formalities of the material world. Such chanting and remembering of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are benedictory. So doing, I traveled all over the earth, fully satisfied, humble, and unenvious. Purport. The life of a sincere devotee of the Lord is thus explained in a nutshell by Narada Muni by his personal example. Such a devotee, after his initiation by the Lord or his bona fide representative, takes very seriously chanting of the glories of the Lord and traveling all over the world so that others may also hear the glories of the Lord. Such devotees have no desire for material gain. They are conducted by one single desire, to go back to Godhead. This awaits them in due course on quitting the material body. Because they have the highest aim of life, going back to Godhead, they are never envious of anyone, nor are they proud of being eligible to go back to Godhead. Their only business is to chant and remember the holy name, fame, and pastimes of the Lord, and according to personal capacity, to distribute the message for others' welfare without motive of material gain. Omagyanati timirandasya gananjana shalakaya shakshur unmilitam yena tasmai shri guruve namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto his lotus feet. So allow me to recap a little of what we have been reading, which brings us to this particular point. Narada Muni had at one time done service to traveling or Parvajakacharya sages. And he heard their discourses, he served them their prasadam, and he gained and learned so much information from them. And he saw how happy they were. This was during the 4 months of the rainy season. So they were happy, they were fulfilled, they were satisfied, they enjoyed what they talked about, which is the Vedic teachings, the same ones that we're talking about today and yesterday and tomorrow. So Narada Muni, he didn't just hear it. He heard it with a particular attitude of reverence, the attitude of affection, the attitude of one who is receiving a blessing, a very fortunate blessing, a very great blessing. So having this incredibly wonderful attitude, he absorbed not only the information, but he absorbed the meaning behind that information. The meaning that he found out at a very early age, only 5 years old, what the true goal of life is. The goal of life, as I mentioned in my Sunday class, the goal of life is, Prabhupada sums it up in one word, Krishna. That he is the goal of life. In Krishna is everything that we need, that we want, that will give us satisfaction, fulfillment, and happiness. So Krishna, all-powerful, all-knowing, all-seeing, omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, eternal, or eternality, knowledge, bliss absolute, complete in all the opulences of beauty and wealth, strength, fame, material knowledge, spiritual knowledge, and renunciation, the ability to detach oneself from even the most pleasant or pleasurable of activities, since he is the pleasure itself. He is the source of all pleasure. He is the source of all bliss. He is the source of all happiness. He doesn't have to go anywhere for it, really. But he does like his happiness expanded, extended, brought to a higher level. And that's why we're here, for no other reason to assist in that process. Of course, the greatest assistant to Krishna for increasing or extending or intensifying his happiness is Srimati Radharani. And from her we get our cue. By watching her, what she does, how she acts, how she speaks, observing her 25 beautiful qualities, transcendental qualities, and we learn how to serve Krishna in a way which is surrendered, full of love, full of care, full of thought, not merely mechanical action. Mechanical action without any feeling, without any love, without any heart in it. If there's none of that, then it's just so much either talk, so much noise. Krishna is not pleased with mechanical action because it's not really directed to him. It's merely yak, 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 blah, 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 finished. There's no feeling behind it. There's no thought behind it. And that's so important in everything that we do devotionally, whether we're chanting the holy name, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, remembering Krishna, remembering his pastime, serving his lotus feet, worshiping him, offering prayers to him, a practical service to him, serving his lotus feet, having a friendly association with him. And in addition to this, giving up our body, our mind, and our speech to him. So when we do this, not mechanically, mechanical chanting, or the opposite, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh, that's the opposite. No enthusiasm, no interest, no sense that we have gotten the greatest of blessings, greatest of benedictions. We have gotten the Lord's name, which is not different from himself. In other words, he's allowing us to associate with him, to touch him, to feel him. And in so doing, if we do it in the proper attitude, the proper understanding, the proper gratitude, then what happens is he sees this and he blesses us accordingly. As they surrender unto me, Krishna says, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects. So the more that we do all of those things, those 9 forms of devotional service that I just mentioned, or just conversing with persons, devotees or non-devotees, if we have in our heart at the same time the desire to please Krishna, the desire to satisfy him, the desire to extend or expand his pleasure, he's very pleased by this. He tells Arjuna, whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there's no doubt. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time perform your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me, and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will come to me without a doubt. He's making a promise there, as he makes in so many other areas. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without doubt. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend and my devotee. So Krishna is promising again and again that he will give himself to us if we completely surrender our false ego to him, if we give up our pride. Pride meaning Krishna gives us all abilities. Some can sing well, some can chant Sanskrit shlokas well, some can cook well, some can dress the deities well. Look at those beautiful clothes. I don't know whether I should look this way or should look that way. It's a temptation, really. So look at this, and not only are they beautiful clothes, but look how beautifully they're put on the deities with such care. That's not a slop job where things are just thrown on. It's not that. Every piece of clothing has been put down with complete care and thought and feeling. And when I see that, when the doors open, the first thing I say, please, my dear Lord, bless that devotee who is giving me, my eyes, my heart, so much pleasure by looking at you. And I'm sure giving you so much pleasure. Bless that devotee or group of devotees because they are truly living up to the principle of pure, loving, devotional service. And we can see the way the garlands have been made, the way the garlands hang a little to the right on one side, a little to the left on the other side, how everything has been carefully, thoughtfully, lovingly put there. That's the way our service must be. Whether we're serving outside in the world and we're working as a computer engineer, or whether we're working in the temple. It doesn't matter where we work or what we do. What it matters is, as I said, it's the attitude with which we do it. If we do it with love and devotion, as Srila Prabhupada says so often, Krishna will be pleased, and when he is pleased, he showers, the super soul showers the soul with its own rain of bliss and ecstasy. So the devotee begins to feel greater and greater bliss, greater joy, greater happiness than he did when he came 1 year ago, 5 years ago. Now, there's one little problem that often happens, and I've seen it happen again and again. It seems that sometimes we don't learn by our mistakes. When a devotee becomes very spiritually prosperous, in other words, he's experiencing great bliss, great peace, great strength, great determination. He's got all these wonderful qualities going. And then he compares himself to others, and he sees that others don't even have half what he has. They're not dancing the way he is. They're not clapping. They're not singing loud and strong and effervescently. So he's thinking in his mind that, well, they haven't gotten what I have. So he's thinking that he's superior. Sorry. He's thinking he's superior to everybody else. I'm better, I'm greater, I'm higher, I'm grander. They haven't reached my stage. So I don't have to serve them anymore. They have to serve me. Once that attitude starts, we're doomed. No matter what our position may be, little, big, middle, big, high, it's all one in one sense. We are simply servants to serve with as much love, with as much dedication, with much devotion as we can. And that's it. And Krishna will be pleased by that, and he will continue to shower us with this transcendental bliss. Now, the devotee can go the other way too, the way of pride or the way of surrender or humility. That's a totally different. And those devotees don't fall down. The first devotee, what happens is that when Krishna begins to see the pride, the sense of false superiority, he begins to withdraw that joyfulness, that blissfulness, that satisfaction that he had before. It starts to, like a thermometer, it starts to go down, like when the winter comes. So the winter of discontent begins, and slowly but surely the devotee is not feeling that bliss, not feeling that happiness, not feeling that satisfaction, and he sees that he's feeling the way he did years ago, that something has been lost in, as we say, translation. So what has happened is that he begins to gradually, like a car, it keeps running and running and running on pride. The car runs out of gas and it doesn't go anymore. So running out of gas for a devotee means he doesn't feel the joy, the bliss, the satisfaction, the fulfillment anymore. It's an empty feeling. It's a dissatisfied feeling. Even Vyasadeva had a little bit of it, but not for that reason. So because he was feeling unsatisfied, that he he wasn't complete in the devotional service, which Narada Muni then explained to him a little later on. So anyway, the devotee, he's feeling empty. He's feeling depressed. He's feeling disorganized. He's feeling hopeless. He's got nothing. What do you do in a situation like that? Well, you can go a number of ways. Number one, you can begin to take intoxication and feel the false pleasure that an intoxicated person gets. Take whiskey or wine, you take crack, cocaine, you take all of these different drugs which are available, even the legal ones, what they call OxyContin, which is a derivative of morphine. This country presently, it's in an epidemic. Whether some of you don't watch the computer news or TV news, country is in an epidemic. OxyContin. You go to West Virginia, you go to Ohio and different places, and you see that every weekend there are many persons ODing, overdosing on this. We're talking not about low-life people, living on the street. They're not really low, but I'm just giving the external description. They're people who have middle-class people, they have lower-upper-class people, middle-upper-class people, people who were feeling, for one reason or another, the emptiness of material life and suddenly got a rush, and they love that rush. Now, Narada Muni, he also got a rush, but he got the real thing, as we say, the real deal. He got Krishna. Subconsciously, everyone is searching really for that joy, that pleasure, that satisfaction, which he knows he should have, but he doesn't have. And when he gets this rush, he feels, now I've found it. So that rush becomes repeated again and again and again. That's one way a person deals with it, and ultimately he may overdose, and that's the end of his life. Could be 30 years old, 40, 50, but why will he overdose? Because it feels so good. And his life is so miserable. And that's where we come in, to fill up the gap where that misery is. The gap is give him real happiness, real pleasure, real satisfaction. As I said, the real deal, give him Krishna, which is ever expanding, ever developing. You get a little bit, and if you're humble and you're thankful, you're grateful, Krishna gives you more. And the more humble we become, the more grateful we become, the more surrendered we become, the more thankful we become. Krishna just loads it on because he's a perfect candidate to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world because he's got humility. And if he has humility, if he's laid back, if he got modesty, if he got surrender, people will never feel threatened by him, never feel offended by him because he doesn't step on toes. He doesn't force himself in front of people. Rather, he allows Krishna to make the nice arrangements for him, and then he just deals with it accordingly, as is necessary. This little incident here, which is really very instrumental and very instructive for us, where Narada Muni sits down under a banyan tree, closes his eyes, practices the technique of entering mentally within the heart, and then sees the Supreme Lord. This is by the grace of God. It's not he earned it, not he achieved it, not he rose to the position, not at all. In fact, what happens is that finally Krishna withdraws himself from Narada Muni. Narada Muni wakes up. He's feeling a tremendous ecstasy. He wants to continue it. Who wouldn't? So what happens is that he's looking around and he's trying to, he closes his eyes, tries to get the experience back, but nothing's happening. Why? Why is this? Why can I not continue to see? And the Lord then speaks to him, as we hear from the purport I've been reading. The Lord speaks to him. He's not manifesting a form now. He speaks to him and he says to Narada Muni, he says, "You will not see me for a long time." And he explains that the reason you will not see me is, number one, I have just given you my grace. I have given you a preview of something, like we see the previews of movies. So we've seen, so he got a preview of something to happen in the future if, and only if, he becomes perfect in devotional service. He's not perfect yet in devotional service. The word that Krishna uses is you're still tainted. You still have ego, lust, anger, greed, envy in varying degrees. And the only way you will get to see me again is by perfecting your devotional service. In other words, you serve me with love, with purity, with dedication, with full devotion, with total surrender, with a feeling that you're nobody. No matter how big, how high, how great you become, you feel like nobody. Why? Because you are nobody, and I'm the somebody in you that is manifesting through you. And once you assign the real doer as me and not as yourself, you will see wonderful, wonderful wonders happening. What you have experienced now in this little glimpse of realization, you will experience everlastingly, ongoingly, without diminution, without interruption. It will go on and on and on. So, therefore, Narada Muni saw. Now, when would this happen? In another kalpa. Now, we all know that a kalpa is a whole kalpa is 8,000,000,006 years. So it would be in the next kalpa that this is going to happen. Think about it. Somebody tells you you're going to get real blissed out, but it's going to be 8.6 million years from now. You have to have a good patient mentality for that, because that experience you want as soon as possible. Of course, what happens in Narada comes to the end of his life, he does achieve that wonderful goal. He becomes completely transcendental. And when it's time to Brahma to wind up the creation, Narada Muni enters into Lord Vishnu in a conscious, transcendental state. And when he comes out, when the next creation comes, he's in the same, he doesn't lose that. It's mentioned that he has full remembrance of it. And so he has that transcendental state. And in that transcendental state, which means transcendence means bliss, it means peace, it means strength, it means love, it means all those things unaffected, undisturbed, unshaken by anything in this material world, because those things are seen as being unreal, untrue, and unreally happening. They're there, they're real in the sense that yes, earth, water, fire, air, ether is there, but they're temporary. Whatever is in the material world is in a state of flux, meaning that it either has a beginning, it goes to a middle, it goes to an end, and then it's gone. Right? All of us, our bodies are gradually changing. This very moment. Like my body, as I look now and I look back at some of the pictures, I say, ah! So I have to accept the reality. That reality is that we change, we age. I'm trying to find my place on the changing bodies, you know. I say I'm getting near the guy at the end with the open mouth, you know, the rictus mouth. So I said, I'm not too far from there. So better work hard. Better try to become humble, become modest, become thoughtful. Do your service in such a way that whoever we talk to, this should be on our mind, foremost consciousness. May this person be benefited. May he become Krishna conscious. May he be flooded and filled with love for Krishna. May he take to Srila Prabhupada's books, like a fish takes to water. May he become absorbed, because many people are not. But our prayers can help, because if a devotee prays for a person who has a book and the person's book is lying on a shelf, and you pray, oh Lord, please, my father, he's got that book, or my brother, he's got the book and he won't open it. Please inspire him. Please engender him. Please enthuse him or her to read the book and understand the book and love the book and go on reading it day after day after day until it becomes completely, totally, fully Krishna conscious. When we pray that way, Krishna is pleased and he's eager to fulfill that prayer. If we think only of ourselves and our own advancement, this is not ideal. Even Prahlad Maharaj was talking about all those persons who go to the Himalayas and they sit by themselves in the caves and they focus and concentrate within. He said that's okay, they get the God realization, but they don't take it any farther, and they don't extend the pleasure of the Lord anymore. God is so pleased when we give out those books. He is so pleased. He's so satisfied. And when we pray to him for the person to whom we have given those books, he's even more satisfied. The sale or the book just starts when the person goes into his hand. That's the beginning. It moves on from the point of our prayer, our begging Krishna, our crying out to Krishna, please help this person. And when he sees that, he'll help. I've seen so many people be helped as a result of prayers. Not only my prayers, but other people's prayers. So this is a wonderful opportunity for all of us to become Krishna conscious, to increase other person's Krishna consciousness. And if we do that, this world will become a better place. We will become better. Everyone will become better. And these incredibly great, unfailing teachings will manifest all over the world, and they are. All of you go around the world, there's so many temples now. I was here 42 years, there were no such temples. So, therefore, I leave everyone with the understanding that this pastime of Narada Muni was given for our benefit, so that if we begin to experience some transcendental bliss and peace and strength, how we should deal with it. He just goes out on the road and he detaches himself from the whole material world and just thinks, feels, wills, talks about Krishna night and day, chanting, chanting, chanting. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions or any comments? Yes, Mataji. Wait for the microphone, please. Can somebody bring the microphone? Thank you. Just a moment. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for a very nice class. I'm just a little confused because you mentioned that we have to be perfect in our devotional service.
Well, I didn't hear that. Go slow.
That we have to be perfect in our devotional service to return to Krishna. But I'm also wondering because since in this material world, there's always going to be some kind of fault in what we do, but Krishna overlooks those faults, because he sees that we're sincerely trying. So I'm just wondering, even if we do something wrong, and are we still able to go back to Krishna even though we're still doing devotional service for him, even though, like say you forget to put something on the deity and then somebody says, oh, you forgot to put this on the deities, or you forgot to put salt in the sabji.
Okay.
So, that's a fault, right? So
it's a fault. It's an oversight. Yeah. Okay, let me get to the answer of your question. So the important point that is to be made, Krishna overlooks our faults, provided we continue to make effort to overcome them. Not that Krishna is saying, giving you a carte blanche authority to commit faults. You make a fault, you realize it, you know you've done it, now you pray for the strength, the understanding to not make it again. And if you have sincerity and regret and repentance, you don't make it again. Okay? So therefore, he allows a few mistakes. First strike, second strike, third strike, you're out. So therefore, don't go beyond the first strike. Let that be one and let that be ended. Okay? So don't take advantage, as Srila Prabhupada said, of this situation. Any other questions? Any other comments? Anyone like? Okay, going 1 second. You got a question? Oh no, it's 2 seconds. Long 2 seconds. No, 3. Enjoy your prasadam. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Thank you.